What's good, man? It's your boy Juicy J, man. Shout out to Virtual Homework Podcast.
E3. Today is a good day for podcasting.
Is it?
It's all right. With my cat screaming in the background. But that is besides the point. Welcome to the Virtual Homework Podcast.
Yeah, you're going to be very confused. Everyone's going to be very confused this episode because it starts out with me having no beard and then all of a sudden I get a beard and it's light out then dark out. This is a weird situation. You know how I've been I'm so happy to get back to a normal recording schedule. We're doing two halves of an episode. So we did all the news part yesterday, and now we're actually talking about the game today. We're gonna get real transparent with it. We're not gonna.
We should have just never said anything and say what people say about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could have said that, but then
we are the people from the past
in the future. That makes no sense. But we are a video game podcast. We'll say that much. I'm Sam.
Yeah, we're at least that. I'm Dana.
And welcome to the Virtual Homework Podcast. Let's get into it, okay? Did you play any more Resident Evil Village? Let's get that out of the way.
I did. I actually I beat the whole game.
Yeah, apparently his VOD is all entirely on Twitch. I don't know if he's highlighted it. Probably not, because people just highlight entire playthroughs.
Yeah, I'm not going to highlight the thing that no one is watching.
Hey, okay, don't sell yourself short. In 35 years, people are going to be like, this was the moment where things got real. There was pre and post Dana's playthrough of Resident Evil Village. You know, after you played Resident Evil Village and you went outside and there was Ebola everywhere?
Wait, what?
No, that happened. You didn't hear about the massive...
It's gonna be 14 minutes of silence and...
Yeah. I don't know if that clip was posted to TikTok, but that's the TikTok content we get. That's the TikTok content you know and love. Just Dana going, Anyway... I played none of it.
I genuinely did scream at 3 a.m, loud as fuck. So
yeah, you actually played Resident Evil Village the way it was meant to be played. I'm playing it in a tiny box on my screen while watching Hearthstone in the back because I don't want to get scared. You're actually playing it dark alone at 3 a.m. So
that's why I was streaming it because I was so afraid. For some reason, streaming it even if no one's watching just makes me feel less alone, I guess.
Okay, well, you're not alone in Resident Evil Village. You got your roommates in the big mansion house.
I do have very different opinions after beating the game. I don't know if I really want to.
You could go into it a little bit. Okay, maybe not spoil it if there's plot points, but I want to say
the game was a 9 out of 10 for me, and it turned into a 7.5 out of 10 after beating it.
A bad ending could genuinely do that. I especially if it's a very plot heavy game. I'm not gonna say Resident Evil entirely relies on the plot, but I feel the plot of Resident Evil matters more than other AAAs. You're playing a Call of Duty game, you're not really caring about the campaign's plot that much.
I really wish I could say it. It's just one of those things where you're just all right, and just...
Did you feel your time was wasted after the ending or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
My time was wasted.
I've definitely felt that way with movies especially, and then some video games as well. So I've been there.
Well, because the thing is, this is a 2-game thing.
Yeah, this is the anthology of, I forget the main character's name, but Final Fantasy 7 and 8. Final Fantasy 7? No, Resident Evil 7 and 8. I misspoke. Yeah, imagine that Resident Evil Final Fantasy crossover.
He misspoke. Oh, that'd be dope. They already did Disney Final Fantasy, and that was pretty cool. But this has nothing to do with anything in regards to what we played this week.
Yeah, speaking of Disney, hey, that's a good transition. Do you like Pixar movies?
I'm just not a feel-good movie type guy.
You take me as a person who watches something that makes you happy, and I'm this is disgusting. That's my dating impression.
It just makes me feel cringy. Feel how when you would cringe at something cringy, that's how it makes me feel. I don't know. There's
watching
no
people be happy, going up a hill. There's a sunrise, and it's "Mommy, I love you," and Dana's
oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually, that was the reaction was genuine, to you saying that. That wasn't acting.
But okay, genuinely. And then follow up because obviously Pixar movies are one thing, but have you seen WALL-E?
No, I have not.
Oh my god!
So I had to piece together. So for those who don't know, we played WALL-E this week. For some reason, we played the WALL-E game. Fucking Sam made me choose it. I've never seen the movie, so I had to piece together the plot from the horrible fucking 2008 cutscenes that this game had.
Oh my god! Yeah, this is a 2008 video game adaptation of the movie WALL-E, which I will say right now, significantly omits plot points from the movie WALL-E. Like, I honestly think that, like, yes, WALL-E is probably the darkest Pixar movie and probably my favorite Pixar movie. That's not why I picked the game, but I legitimately, like, I almost virtual homework. Can I give you extra homework and make you watch the WALL-E movie? I don't care.
I will not watch the WALL-E movie.
I want to watch. Can we just do it before next podcast? Can we just like have a movie night and watch WALL-E?
Maybe.
Sure. WALL-E's a good movie, and it's like legitimately dark. It's not like a feel good happy movie.
Can I explain what I think the story is? Like, and
okay.
It's not, like I don't think people get pissed if I spoil WALL-E, right?
Spoiler alert. It's like though. Okay, let's just preface this. Spoiler alert. You're gonna
WALL-E,
get the whole
spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen WALL-E yet, pause the podcast and come back when you're like in 2009 or something like that. I don't know. Continue.
Okay, so this is what I think happened. So apparently it's like some apocalyptic future where like the earth is like covered in fucking garbage and there's no humans, or maybe there are, I don't know. There's like these robots like trying to clean up the place for some reason. It's like some mega corporation making them do it. Then for some reason there's like a dust storm and Wally's the only person that survives it for some reason. I don't know, because he like jumped ahead of them. And then
what is WALL-E? Did you mention what WALL-E is at this point?
He's a robot that like, cleans garbage.
Yeah, there we go.
So then all the other WALL-E robots died, and then for 700 years or something, he was the only robot. And then for some reason, another ship lands, and it's like futuristic humans, and they're like, oh, we're trying to find a plant. And then they find a plant, and then they bring it to the ship, and the robots are like, no, we can't have it. And the humans are like, oh, we gotta have it. So then they get it back, and then they go to Earth, and then they save the Earth.
That was like 75% there. You just like missed some like very important things. All right, so can I clarify what you missed? Like, can we get like extra deep into the WALL-E plot spoilers here?
All right, lay on the lore.
Okay, here's the WALL-E lore. By that
I obviously didn't read the lore wiki, so.
Psych, actually, no, I forgot. You almost convinced me to spoil the plot of WALL-E. You're gonna just have to watch it, okay? We're gonna watch WALL-E before next episode.
Damn it!
Yeah. He was gonna get the whole plot. It's like, oh, I don't have to watch WALL-E now. No, you're gonna watch WALL-E. You're gonna fucking watch WALL-E. You're gonna like it, okay?
Virtual this is just like the most 2008 Disney outsourcing to random ass company to make a game I've ever played in my life.
Okay. So before I get into the reason why I picked this game, have you like played any other movie games like ever? I mean, I assume so.
Yeah, I've played like all like the Super Nintendo ones, which are really good.
Yeah. What is your like? Name some movie games that you actually like.
Like the Toy Story game,
not including WALL-E, because I don't know your opinion on WALL-E yet.
The Aladdin, Toy Story, like the Lion King, like those are all fucking awesome games.
Okay, I think that like it's weird. Once there was like a transition to 3D, like movie games
just turned fucking garbage.
I'm not gonna say garbage. They just turned incredibly mediocre. Like we went from like Aladdin being like a legitimate classic to like, I don't know. My fondest memories actually with any movie game was Toy Story 2. But I was very young and I remember playing it on PC. I think the game has like a Metacritic score of like 50% or something like that. But like I legitimately enjoyed that game a lot. And that actually like brings us to this game. The reason I picked this game is like really like, do you remember demos? Obviously demos still exist, but like when's the last time you played a demo of a video game?
But fucking 20 years, I don't know.
Yeah, because like at this point, like I don't even care. Like there's enough footage of games, and like I kind of understand what I'm getting into. Like there's also a refund period. I'll just play a game. I don't really need demos at this stage in my life. I'm surprised demos still exist. Like companies make demos, and people download demos and play demos. I feel like there's much better uses of my time. Like if I'm gonna
than like playing a demo just to play the game.
Yeah, just play the game. Like there's so many games. If something's enticing you, like that's already like a sign that like maybe just try out the game instead of like, I don't know, there's like a billion other things that you could also play. But
my whole thing is like, why waste my time with a demo if I like the demo, okay, let me play through the exact same part again.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually, one of the last demos I ever downloaded, I was just like randomly downloading stuff from the Xbox 360 store or whatever that was on the console. I'm like, you know what, WALL-E demo, who cares? I like the movie WALL-E. And like
when was this?
This was like 2008. This is legitimately like I was Xbox 360 gaming, playing the WALL-E demo on my Xbox 360, and the area we're gonna get more into the gameplay, but just to give Dana some context here, the area that the demo was in was right when you got on the spaceship.
Oh god,
that's like, okay, well anyway,
I guess that's like the better part of the game.
Yeah, okay, so that's exactly. But Yeah, after that, I'm like, you know what? Like, I kind of want to play this game. So I bought it. Like, I've had this game in my Steam library for like, legitimately, I've been on Steam for like 9 years. This game has been in my Steam library for like 8 years. Like, something like, I've had this game in the backlog forever.
And you've
like,
just never touched it?
I've just never touched it. I've just, like, I'll get to it eventually.
That's literally the most random shit ever.
I mean, there's the most random shit to go from, like, I don't know, Resident Evil Village to the Wall-E movie video game on Steam.
Well, but I mean,
from
like, how you
2008.
placed it, though, and everything, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
that's actually more interesting than any of the reasons we chose other games.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, this game's new. Well, this game's just been in my Steam library for like it was also like $19 at the time. Like this game was a full price video game when it came out, which I mean, like we'll talk about this game a little bit once we get into the gameplay here. Yeah, Wall-E the video game. I beat it. Did you beat it? Yeah, you beat it. I know you beat it because we talked about this game a little bit.
I beat it.
Yeah, this game is a very short video game.
I beat a little bit faster than you.
Yeah, okay, I just got distracted. It took 30 hours to beat the game. No, I just left the game running overnight. But I think this game is about a 5-hour game if you're taking your time with it.
Just under 5 hours.
Yeah, and basically it's a platformer with kind of everything. You know how movie games, every single movie game that like comes out today,
It has everything.
It just has everything, and they do
actually,
it kind of all relatively poorly.
I kind of numbed it down to like 3 different gameplay types. There's like the collectathon level where you go from area to area within the level collecting things to get to like another door. And then there's like the on rails like shooting levels where like stuff is coming at you and you have to like shoot them while you're kind of just like on rails, kind of like in a reverse position. And then there's like a race where you try to like beat a timer to get to, like at the end of a path or something like that. Those are really the only like 3 gameplay levels.
You miss the one big thing that's like skateboarding sections where you're going from ramp to ramp. Like you go everywhere.
That's part of like the open world platforming, man. We got to get into that. This is like Tony Hawk, pro skater.
Legitimately,
like,
I was trying to find the link between Tony Hawk and this game because like it almost looks like he used the assets from Tony Hawk to like to make their Wall-E video game. Like who at THQ was on the Tony Hawk team that worked on Wall-E, but I couldn't find anything. But want to know, based on your description, your on rails, your collectathon, your open world platforming with like racing elements. I have a note here. This is the spiritual successor to Sonic Adventure. Like this,
no, not even.
The Sonic sections are the racing sections where you're also like skateboarding and shit because Sonic does that. The collectathon parts are Knuckles, and the on-rail part, that's Tails. Like Tails, legitimately, Sonic Adventure, Tails has shooting sections where he's in a plane. Sonic sections, you're going like fast, and you're also
at the most base level possible. Like, yeah, you can make that comparison, but that's like even Sonic Adventure is like 10 times more in depth than anything this game could ever be.
Okay, I'm not gonna say this game is in depth, but I actually had a legitimately extremely fun time with this game. I'm not gonna say
it was. I could leave it, to be honest.
You could leave it? You found it mediocre? I mean, I kind of expected this, honestly, but, like, I enjoyed this way more than Resident Evil. Fuck Resident Evil Village. Like,
fuck you! Beat that.
Yeah, well, legitimately, like, I'm not gonna say I love this game. I think it would be really sad if I loved this game as, like, a 27-year-old man just playing the Wall-E video game 13 years later. Like, I love this game. This game's my shit. Go Wall-E.
I just want it to be over, to be honest.
No, really? Okay. I just felt, like, when I was playing it that I was just, like, legitimately enjoying it. I think it just shows that if a game is in your genre, it's very easy to like have fun with it versus like trying to like have fun with
my genre as well. It's just like I like games that have some sort of challenge. This game has literally zero challenge other than like frustrating sections because your entire movement is like on ice. Like your character is on ice the entire fucking game and it's awful.
I mean, I agree that it's an easy game, but like I had no issues with the platforming. Like I first tried nearly every single section. Like, and it wasn't like me trying to finnick my way through it. It was just like me understanding the game controls, and like I was a master. Okay.
Didn't you say there was a part in the beginning that made you want to like end it all?
Okay, that was me. Certain sections of this game, specifically the collectathons. The collectathons are made in the worst way in that you have to collect literally every single item in the level, and they're scattered everywhere. Like sometimes collectathons are like, get 90 gems, and then it's like, okay, I'll get 90 gems out of the 200 that are there. This is like you have to get literally every single tiny object.
It's like get 70.
Yeah,
and all theirs are in the level is 70.
Yeah. So that was kind of annoying in that end, but like I got used to it, and then I found myself enjoying the game more and more. I think the worst parts are at the beginning, and while this game is short, so it's not like really that big of a separation between the worst parts and the better parts. I thought the game did pick up, specifically where the demo was when you're on the spaceship. It had legitimately probably one of my favorite auto scrollers to ever exist in a video game. When you're like, there's a section where you're not allowed to touch the ground because you're gonna get like caught by the stewardesses or whatever, the robot stewardesses.
And you have to like jump from like thing to thing. It was all right.
Yeah, I just
feel like the controls felt like clunky. They're a little shitty.
Did you play
like
this on
to jump
controller or keyboard? Oh my god.
On a controller.
Okay, I was gonna say I feel like this game wouldn't work on keyboard. Like legitimately, this game is unoptimized as shit. Like this game is $20 on Steam, and first of all, I would say like if you got this game at full price when it came out, you were getting massively ripped off considering the length of the game.
Yeah.
This is definitely a game that like relied on children who enjoyed Wall-E, like their parents buying it for them.
Do you ever? I see games like this, and I think children would not be able to get through like that first fucking platforming section where like the crane falls down. You have to like jump across it, and it cuts so long. Like I can't imagine a child getting through that. But then I think like when I was a kid, I was like beating Donkey Kong Country, so it's like
I think I might have been a better gamer as a kid than now. Like I would like if only through perseverance I was a better gamer than I am now. But like I definitely I think that the reason why I even picked up this game in the first place is because like the section that the demo is in was probably my favorite section of the game. Like this game. Even the autoscroller that I found, like, every single section of this game has some sort of speed element, I think, besides the on-rail shooting sections. Like, I think that this would, I mean, like, I say a lot of things are going to be good speed games, but I think this would legitimately be a good speed game. But then again, a lot of, like, mid-2000s platformers would be as well. This is the same dev team that made Battle for Bikini Bottom, so which I'm not super surprised about.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I really, actually, I think that for $20, still a little expensive. For $10, I think this is a relatively all right 3D platformer.
I mean, it's okay, I guess. I mean, there's just parts. I don't want to say it was frustrating. It was just like I just didn't get much out of it. It just felt very boring. It's just playing other games. It's really all I wanted to do. I was just kind of like slogging through this because it was just like no difficulty.
But hey, you actually felt motivated to beat it at least.
Well, yeah, because I had time to. It's like I literally beat this game in one sitting, so it's like
okay. I feel like it says something though when you actually are motivated to. I'm not like trying to justify your like. I'm not trying to say you like the game more than you are, but like I think there's legitimate like when someone's able to beat a game that like it says they like it more than maybe they're letting off. Okay, that's all.
It was like that day. So I waited all the way until the day we started recording to like play the game, and Sam messages me like, is everything okay? You didn't even boot up the game yet. So I'm like, I got you. So I had to prove a point and beat the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, considering this game has like a 67 on Metacritic, I think this game is legitimately one of the better movie games to come out in recent memory. Like, I'm trying to think. I think that the issue is that the bar
probably,
is so low.
But
the bar is so low.
What other movie games? Like, this game is like a hard 5.5 out of 10 for me.
5.5, I think, is like a legitimately like fair rating at like the. I think it was never $60. I think it was a $50 game. But like even then, like I think for like $20. You know what?
I'm not going to say this game sucks.
I enjoyed this game. I was having fun with this game. I had way more fun with this game than Resident Evil Village. I'm going to say that right now. I'm not going back to Resident Evil Village. I'm not playing that game probably ever again. And I spent $60 on that game. I think my value from that game has been derived. And you also convinced me that I should not go back when you said that it was not worth your time. But I was legitimately enjoying sections of Wall-E. Well, I wouldn't say like when I was playing Resident Evil Village, like I was just kind of going from section to section and being like, all right, what's here? I wasn't really captivated in the same way.
I guess it's just because I have the background in the Resident Evil universe, so it was just like throwbacks to like other things and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh god, like it's so cool, things like that. It's like I almost knew what to expect. Versus like this was like a new experience that just felt like very.
This was legitimately a new experience for me. I've never involved myself in Wall-E video gaming.
Well, I definitely haven't. Or Pixar THQ Tony Hawk Pro Skater. We didn't even talk about like the general mechanics. So you play as Wall-E.
We did.
You go around the world.
Wall-E. That's all you need to know.
So like my biggest problem, like I said earlier, is the movement. It's like you are basically on ice the entire time.
I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree. I never thought that Wally was difficult to control.
I mean, like it's not difficult, but I mean, like once you learn it, it's fine and stuff like that. It just there are going to be definitely sections where you're trying to jump and then it's like you don't and stuff like that. Maybe it's just because of my controller or something like that. But
I first tried nearly every section. Maybe I'm just a boss gamer.
How do you first try every section and I beat this game like 2 hours before you?
Because like I played so I did get stuck in the beginning. We mentioned that skateboarding is an element. By skateboarding, you're basically just going on a ramp and then like you have to hit A at the absolute apex.
First try.
No, I didn't die. That's the thing. Not dying is different than so like. Every section I didn't die.
First try.
Deathless is a better way to say it. I'm sorry, I got called out. I'll revise myself here. I think I might have died once or twice in the entire game, but deathless pretty much till the end. Yeah, there's these weird skateboarding sections. There is a speed element to this game. I mentioned this game is fast, but like there's literally a speed meter. Wally can go slow. Wally can go super fast. When Wally's going fast. He's like going nuts here as you're like zooming across the map. But like part of the way you gain speed is by doing like sick half pipe tricks where you're basically just going from half pipe to half pipe, and on the way down you're getting speed. But occasionally you'll have to like, for lack of a better term, you know in Tony Hawk when like you're going all the way up and then like you press L and R at the same time and then you go to a different ramp,
like a revert or something, whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever it's called, revert. Like you have to do reverts in this game and they're not super clear in it, so I got stuck on the beginning on those. But that's one of the reasons it took me a really long time.
So
to get past
if you
that. Listen
to the instructions, it tells you ride on the.
I hit A immediately. Every instruction.
The track the tracks on the fucking ramp, and you'll go up. There are little tracks that you have to just like follow on the ramp, and it'll do it for you.
I must have missed the part where the Wally video game in the instructions said the tracks on the fucking ramp, just hit A. But yeah, so I got stuck on there, and then I also legitimately got soft locked in a section. It was like the only puzzle section in the game, and I'm like, why is this puzzle so difficult? I can't solve this. And then I realized after I like resorted to a guide 45 minutes because I'm like, this is taking way too long. Something's wrong. Yep, something didn't spawn. I had to restart the game. So that was fun. And then I don't know. You played this in one sitting. I was like, just cooking food, having fun with my life. You're sitting here like
I was just like fucking like internment camp, fucking Wally time, like having to play this fucking game.
Yeah, but you beat it, and do you think you're a better man for it?
No, if anything, I'm worse.
You're worse?
I mean, there were definitely points where I was like, all right, this is kind of cool, or whatever, but it's like they're just games that do it better, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just too biased. Like, and I think you may have a little bit of nostalgia goggles for this because you had such a wonderful time with that demo like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
to the point where you bought the game. I think maybe you're just justifying in your own mind like that you spent the full price on this like 10 years ago.
I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is that games don't have to be perfect. Games don't have to be the best. You could have a game and then there could be like something that's better in every way, but that doesn't mean the first one's bad. Like, yes, Wall-E is not the greatest 3D platform of all time. It's close, but like there's games like 3D World, games like Super Mario Sunshine maybe do this a little better. It doesn't have. It's not
a
trying
little
to,
better, a lot of better.
It's not trying to be that.
We gotta find more like licensed games and play them. I think that'd be really funny to play more licensed games.
It's not trying to be the
like,
best.
We'll play the Matrix
Wall-E.
game next.
I played that a shit ton of Matrix as a kid, and like the thing is I like that game too, but that was like definitely that was right on the cusp of when I couldn't tell when a game was a shit game. I recognize that game's a shit.
Did you ever play the Lord of the Rings the Twin Towers game or Two Towers?
Lord of the Rings. The Twin Towers.
Oh man, the two towers. For,
I haven't
PS2.
played those. The only Lord of the Rings game
sick.
I played, there's like Lord of the Rings Conquest for the Xbox 360, which was actually had a great online. I had a lot of fun with that, like me and my high school buddies. But then like,
isn't that like weird how like random ass old games just had like sick as fuck online?
Yeah, but the thing is, like the issue is that like 6 months later, they're like, yeah, no one's playing this, it's gone.
That happened with Transformers Online. They came out with a Transformers game for the PS3.
Yeah, the Platinum Games
like,
one,
Quake. It was
like
fucking awesome.
The same person who made Bayonetta. They made the Transformers game, and no one liked it.
No, that game, the online was sick as fuck though. It was so fun.
I mean, if last thing, because I need to keep talking about Wall-E because it's my life force here.
Wow.
Did you play any of the multiplayer? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, I went through the bonus features. Basically, it's one of those games. Actually, I was super impressed.
I did too.
I was super impressed in that, like, this is 2008. I felt like that was a little too late to have a in-game cheat menu. Do you remember, like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater? They had, like, big head mode that you could, like, buy.
Cheats and stuff like
Yeah.
that. This basically had the same thing for, like, doing, like, collectathons or, like, getting special artifacts from the levels.
Yeah.
You
So
get points in which you could unlock, like, art and stuff.
Yeah, the game had, like, collectathon levels where you're literally required to get, like, 100 pills or whatever they were. But, like, there's also sections where, like, you could literally get, like, every single crate. And, like, they basically do nothing except give you extra points where you could either buy high-res art, which, I mean, high-res art from 2008 looks like pixelated garbage now. But there's also just, like, you could buy cheats. I think you could buy mini games. I don't know. The entire mini games consisted of the extremely bare bones mini games in the actual levels. Like, there are certain areas of this game where it's obvious that it was meant for children. Like, there's like
that like the security doors. I fucking hated those security doors.
The security doors were basically like Simon Says, but like it's quite literally Simon Says, but it's like three things. It's like, oh, if I can't,
and
do
it's
this,
like and each level has like 6 of them, and it's like the same puzzle over and over. It's so tedious. That is the worst part of the game.
You're not allowed to criticize this game. It's obviously meant for children, so I think you're a little bit too old here. Like, you got to
listen. We are a video game podcast. We need to. This is an adult podcast. We need to rate this game like adults.
Okay, well, the other last thing, because I keep wanting to talk about this, can we talk about how this game had the weirdest post game that was completely unnecessary? Like,
yeah, that was like random as fuck post game. You like beat the game. There's credits, and then there's like, someone stole my plant like 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh, he stole it again.
Yeah, it literally was pointless and took about 5 minutes to complete, and like it made the game worse for it. It's like if you just had credits where the credits were supposed to be, like the credits where they were like where the movie ended. There was no section after the movie where the guys, someone stole my plant 3 times. Like, they don't go into that. But anyway, my final thoughts on Wall-E. Let me drum roll for me. Can you do that for me? Can you knock on the desk? Can you drum roll? Like 7 out of 10. I don't know. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
I liked it. Okay.
You give this a better rating than like AAA games we've played in the past.
I didn't. Resident Evil gets like a 6.
It's insane to me. That's like actually insane.
Okay. There's like a disconnect. Resident Evil, from like what I could tell, what I understand, because like we actually had a conversation in the past, but in the future, about how like games are objectively, like they're more objective than like other forms of entertainment. Resident Evil, I could recognize the game is probably like an 8 out of 10, but for my enjoyment, the game is like a 6 out of 10.
You didn't play enough of it.
Wall-E is like a 5 out of 10 game, but my enjoyment is a 7 out of 10 game. Okay, does that make sense? Let's start with the cons.
So there's 2 meters. There's like the overall quality of the game, and then there's another factor, like a multiplier, that is your enjoyment of the game, which could be 2 different things.
It's basically bias.
It's like seeing like a bad movie but still having a good time.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say this is bad. I would say this is mediocre, but it's just like in a genre. Like, so there's cons. Terrible graphics. Like, in fact, the cutscenes looked worse than
the
like
graphics. So I actually upscaled the graphics to like maximum. They didn't look that bad.
Oh, I didn't go into any settings because that's another con. This game is not optimized for current PCs and just crashes setups like crazy. So I'm like, I'm not going to touch anything.
I went into, I did 1920 by 1080. I did like 16x anthroscopic. I did trilinear, like all that stuff, and my game looked actually pretty fucking good.
Okay, I want to say that like I legitimately thought some of the cutscenes looked worse than in-game graphics. It was like weird. They had this weird...
the cutscenes look fucking terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Cons. Cutscenes were like unskippable parts.
Yes, unskippable cutscenes. Like if you like took a break and like left a level, and then so you had to watch like a 10-minute unskippable cutscene like again.
Yeah, exactly. And then pro, it's Wall-E. There we go.
It's Wall-E.
Wall-E
has a fat cock, gets all the bitches.
I mean, I can't, what else is new?
So you know how they stopped making people wear masks? So at
COVID's
my work,
over, right?
Yeah, exactly. We still require people to wear masks because, I mean, we're somewhat reasonable. I can pretty much guarantee, like, I would say about 80% of people don't wear masks into the store, even though we have 5 signs that say, dude, Doodles is going to fucking town right now.
Yeah, we might not be able to put this on YouTube. It might be Patreon only.
It will hit the furry community with that one.
Yeah, there we go.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, we have like 5 signs. So it's like if anyone's over 45 and not wearing a mask, it's like I kind of dread telling them they have to wear masks. They're going to get pissed.
It's like Karens and male Karens.
I've had people swear at me. Like I've had people like, "What the fuck? This is fucking bullshit." I'm like, "This is like you can leave."
Yeah, you don't have to buy cards. It's not like a human right.
Well, we don't just sell trading cards though. We do trading cards.
I know.
It's like 10% of our store and 90%.
You don't have like literally being able to purchase entertainment in a mall is like that's the lowest priority on the freedom ring. You know.
I don't know. It just is like it's always going to be someone over 45 who gets pissed, or like it'll be like the random like 30-year-old dude who comes with no mask. I'm like, hey, by the way, sorry about that, but you got to wear a mask. And they're just like, guess I'm never coming back here again. And they just leave.
You know how, like, there's the things that you attach to items, so, like, they beep when you steal something?
Yeah.
They got to have, like, a reverse situation where masks have, like, their own little chip. And, you know, putting a chip in a mask...
we can't put chips in there. That is, like, so, like... That's like you've seen those horrible videos of, like, the people cutting open a mask and like, this is what's inside your mask. And it's like a microchip.
No, but if we put the chip
like an SD card.
If we put the chip in the mask, then you have like sensors in the store, and it like starts alarming if you try to go in a store without a mask because it detects human beings. Like this is a terrible idea.
You want to know a secret thing? Most of those alarms don't actually work.
Yeah, it's all security theater. The only ones that work are like the ones where it's like an actual like huge circle like wired onto a package, right?
Yeah.
Like the tiny little like slips that go into an item, they're pretty. If they work, it's definitely finicky.
You ever go to the drive-thru and you're just like, people spend like 10 minutes in the drive-thru? It's just like you're gonna get the number 3. Just why do you have to spend 20 minutes?
It's actually pretty insane. Like I never take as long as some people in the drive-thru. Like I'm always in and out. I'm like one of those people who gets like really, really upset when I like don't have my order immediately. Like I feel bad. Maybe I'm just not a sociopath. Like if like I'm not immediately ready when I get to the drive-thru.
Oh yeah, like I'm like one of those people. Or it's like I'll be in line at Starbucks and someone's like, I want do you have anything that tastes like cookies? And like, yeah, we have cookie crumble frappuccino. It's like, what's in that? It's like with like 20 people behind them. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
it's the worst when it's like an old person and then like they're simultaneously being like difficult and making jokes. Like I was in the Starbucks line and the guy was like being like straight up rude to the waitress, but like also like I forget the jokes. They were like shitty jokes, but then he'd also be like, I would like some coffee with my cream, please. It's like, oh, come on, you suck. I hate you so much.
Old people always makes like the stupid jokes. Like I at my work, they'll be like, "Oh, it didn't ring up. It must be free, right?" I'm like, "Huh?" And then it's like I got in an argument with a friend of mine. It's like, "Oh, they're just trying to lighten the mood." It's like whatever. But it's like hearing the same joke 17 times a day is not like fun.
Yeah, I get it. I'm trying to think of other ones. I'm trying to make you leave the call right now. Do you think that if we had if it was legal to machete one customer a month? Like behead them with a machete? Think people
would be like act better?
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think they would act better. I think they would act the same because like what if you just because would you have to choose someone still?
You don't have to choose them, but
it's like every customer could be good, and
it's not mandatory to behead them with a machete. It's just like you get one a month. And like if I was in retail, I would probably just the first one it happens. There we go.
I feel for the customer at that point though, because if let's say that makes every customer be good, it doesn't matter if you act good or not, because I could still machete you.
I guess, but you have a significantly less chance of being macheted if you're good than if you're like if you're like the Karen style customer, you're gonna get macheted at some point very soon. In fact, while if you were a good customer, you would probably get macheted like way down the line. Like you're rolling the dice being a Karen.
I don't know. I think this would not be a good method. Maybe if I like throw tomato at them or something.
No, that's why tomato? Is this like a cartoon? Is it like The Simpsons?
Well, isn't that what you do? Is like throw rotten tomatoes at like dumbasses?
When was that a thing, legitimately? When did people throw tomatoes at people? Because, like, this is a thing I know about, right?
That was, like, in the medieval times. They would, like, put you in the stocks, and then, like, you'd be, like, stuck there, like,
I
And they would throw
guess.
tomatoes at you.
I feel like that was a really bad use of crops, considering like people were like starving to death.
Well,
in the Middle
you would
Ages.
only throw rotten food.
I get like I feel like there are a lot of people who again are starving and would rather eat rotten food than die. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't know shit about the 1600s.
I think you would just die. I think you would die if you ate rotten food.
But you die from starvation too. So like, what are you gonna do? It's like
I don't know. I imagine a place that has like the funds to like keep somebody in a thing and have rotten food you probably wouldn't be starving.
I mean I don't know.
I imagine that wasn't
death.
like. Well, I imagine that situation wouldn't be in like every like poor ass fucking town. Like
It wasn't
are,
a
like, dying.
global part of culture in like 1500.
Well, no, I imagine it was just like in like probably wealthier areas.
People throwing tomatoes in like I don't know, like Virginia. People throwing tomatoes in Europe. People throwing tomatoes in like Beijing. It's just like a common thing. People evolve, and then they get to like the tomato throwing part of culture.
Speaking of Beijing, I saw something the other day. Oh fuck, I forgot what it was. It was like something about Beijing means like Japanese donkey or something like that.
In Chinese, it definitely doesn't. It just means northern capital.
I don't know. I remember seeing something. It was like it means something.
You are the type of person who would get like the word booger tattooed on their neck, like in Chinese, and be like, "Oh, this means courageous." Like, come on.
It says like dumbass
Yeah,
in Chinese.
yeah. People actually have that though. It's really funny. Like I cringe when I look at Chinese tattoos. However, I will say that for all the jokes people make about like people getting the wrong thing tattooed, 95% of them are actually accurate. You have to be a special kind of dumbass to like get an inaccurate thing tattooed to your not face,
or like
but
the
anywhere.
people who get shit that's like spelled wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel it's not even just like if you're getting a tattoo, you have to do your due diligence. But like, if you're a tattoo artist, you don't want to be known for like tattooing wrong Chinese characters on people. Like, it's not a thing that's common
to be fair,
anymore.
I imagine 98% of those people are people who just go like this is actually something I saw the other day. You can go and look for the cheapest tattoo kit on Amazon and just look at the photo reviews. It's fucking hilarious.
I bet, like, honestly, there's a weird breed of people. Like, I remember I was like, there's like so many like tattoo parlor TV shows. Like, I was watching like one reality one, and like there's like literally they're like, oh, in order to get people into our shop, we'll have a promotion. We'll tattoo our logo for only $50 on you. Like, why would I pay money to have some random logo of a tattoo place tattooed to me? Like, but no, like people were like, getting regular tattoos, and like they were being like worked up. Oh, you could also get this tattoo of our logo for like $50. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just get that tattoo. That is so foreign to me. Just getting a tattoo of a different tattoo parlor just like on a whim, and it still costs money. Like it's not like it's not like a NASCAR thing where you're getting paid to promote them.
On the topic of looking at terrible tattoos, like you're just
looking at terrible tattoos.
Just go through these pictures. Like
I think that like the era of like terrible tattoos was or not terrible tattoos, but like mistranslated tattoos. Also, it can't really happen in the era of Google Translate, at least not as often. I'm looking at some of these look good. Never mind. That's the product description. I gotta see the negative reviews. I'm looking at the positive reviews right now.
no, these are positive reviews. Just go to all like photo reviews. Fuck, I can't like copy a picture.
I would just have so much anxiety giving myself a tattoo that I couldn't. Someone tattooed an orange though, and that's pretty dope.
I would never get a tattoo, like ever.
Yeah, the thing is, like 90% of my interests, like I don't have. Like think about the things you like from 5 years ago. Like there are probably a few, but like there aren't that many. And like 10 years ago, it's like I would
Hell,
probably regret it
motherfucker,
eventually.
no. I'm a complete different person.
Yeah, like I mean, even music, like there are some bands I still listen to from like 2006 to now, but like I definitely don't like them as much. Like my favorite artist in like 2006 was DJ Sharpnell, and while I don't think DJ Sharpnell is bad, like I definitely got sick of listening to DJ Sharpnell.
You would get cringe to like the high heavens if you had that tattooed to you. Or like people
I
get
don't know
like
if I
pot
get cringe.
leaves,
I mean, like I understand like it's like anime core, but like it's just
yeah,
not my type of music at this
imagine
point.
being 55 and having a DJ Shrapnel torch. Fucking.
It's DJ Sharpnell, not Shrapnel. I know that it's illogical, but okay. Like the thing is, like
I thought it was shrapnel, but I could have swore I heard you say shrapnel.
Oh, sorry. I'm mumbling here. I'm sorry here. I'm mumbling here. I'm sorry. But I will say, like, I think that at 55, I was still like DJ Sharpnell. Like, I think that it's kind of weird. Like, I'm not going to say I'm like having a kid right now, but like, I think eventually I will have a child and I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, cause like, you know, like what does your dad listen to? Like Steely Dan? Probably Steely Dan.
Yeah. Like that kind of shit. Like Pink Floyd, Stealing Dan.
Stealing Dan? Is that what you just said?
Stealing Dad.
Stealing Dad. Yeah, that's like going to be my cover band of Steely Dan. Actually, if I could cover Steely Dan, I'd be impressed. But no, like people my age, like having kids, it's like, oh yeah, my dad listened to this weird anime core DJ Sharpnel. I feel like that's gonna be just like a really weird conversation. It's like, oh yeah, don't look at this cover with this like lowly anime girl on it.
Well, people make like those things like, oh man, the nursing home's gonna be so lit. We're gonna have Halo 2 LAN parties in the nursing home. I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna work out, or if it's going to, or
I mean, there's people with my age
like,
with kids, and like they just think whatever I listen to is lame because like they listen to like, I don't know, Post Malone, and it's gonna be like he listens to like cringe weird techno music. It's like people when the nursing home's gonna be lit. But like people looking into the nursing home is gonna be like, this is the worst music I've ever heard in my life. Like
just like boom, 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 boom,
like playing speedcore. They're like, did they have like a period of mental decline in like the 2020s?
Fucking playing like Emil or something like that, like Bailando Rape or some shit like that, like blasting in the fucking
that, or it's gonna be like. Because, you know, like people are getting like things are going more extreme now. Like people are going to be so desensitized to that. Like there's already hyperpop. It's going to be like our hyperpop is going to be like dad rock right now. It's going to be like, wow, that's not like 800 BPM, just kicks, just like pure noise. What are these? What are you doing, grandpa? Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what do you think music's going to be like in the future? Like, as far as, like, do you think it's just going to get more streamlined and less, like, interesting? Because I just feel like a lot of it's going that way as far as, like, modern popular EDM, like, pop music and stuff like that. It's getting kind of...
Well, I mean, like, obviously there's been a formula that's worked in music for, like, hundreds of years. Music theory is just kind of like it's a thing and it will never go away. But I like we're already seeing like the homogenization of music. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna say there were more interesting ideas back in the day. I think that like considering the breadth of music now and the ability for people to create...
I mean, there's more interesting ideas out there now than ever if you search for it. But like I'm talking, I guess, more on like mainstream music and stuff like that.
I think that it's just gonna like I think if songs are gonna be like different. I think that they're gonna be able to like at least make some variation in the music. Like obviously there's gonna be stuff that sounds like other stuff, but I think that like we're already experiencing it now, and like maybe it's just like not having hindsight, but like I feel like music in general is just going to be less and less memorable. Like we listen to stuff right now that was made in the 60s, 70s, 80s, etc. Like these things have like 60 years of staying power. Like people listen to the Beatles, etc. Like what from this decade are people going to be listening to in 2080? I can't like begin to tell you what it is. Like I feel like a lot of the music nowadays is going to be more
it's already
forgotten.
Happening though. You can listen to like classic rock stations and it's just like, all right, Red Hot Chili Peppers, or like
I understand that it's already happening with like the 2010s and 2020s, but like I'm just saying proportionally, like the amount of pop music, the amount of Billboard 100 hits, I'm not, because like the amount of music in general, there's just way more.
I imagine people like Lady Gaga, probably people like on like the high echelons of popularity, like Beyonce, Rihanna, things like that. But like these like people who do like a couple songs that maybe don't have as much like A-list power, I think are going to be long forgotten.
Do you think people are going to be listening to Congratulations by Post Malone in 2080? Are people going to remember that song existing? Probably not.
To be honest,
you're gonna say
maybe.
Yeah?
I'm gonna say yeah, because that's different. That's like a song you would play at your graduation. Like for example, like in my 8th grade graduation, we played "Good Riddance" by Green Day, and that just seems like it would fall into like one of those cheesy graduation songs.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, like, we're also at like this. Like we are lucky enough that like in terms of recorded music, we have about like there were people. I don't know when the first recorded music was. Like probably 1910s, 1920s. Like I'm not sure about the exact timeline here, but like we have people who are alive today that were like around. Like there at a certain point, there's just going to be too much media. Like right now, if you are an absolute cinephile, you cannot like actually watch like every movie that's like considered culturally relevant. Like obviously not every movie, but like if you watch a movie a day, you're gonna be watching thousands of movies, and like you're still like 200 years from now, it's like I you're gonna have to like really.
What else is there?
Slim pickings. Like
there's too much media.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you know I watch a lot of fucking anime, and there's just like so much out there. It's like there's just not enough time in the universe to like watch like 5% of it, you know?
Yeah, and like I mean, like every single generation, including me, like we all get stuck in our time capsules where I'm like basically like 90s to 2010 like rap. I'm like trying to listen to it all. Like I'm not even like bothering with like new shit. Like it's like the same thing with movies. Like people like have their own genres that they're really trying to like. Oh, you like crime movies? Like you're just trying to watch every single crime movie. Like people are just gonna pigeonhole themselves further and further. it's a weird conversation. I mean, what about video games? Are people like,
See, I think video games have an astounding lasting power, I want to say. Like, because we're still talking about and we're still playing, like, games from, like, the early 90s, late 80s and stuff like that. And it's not just, like, a couple games. It's a lot of games and a lot of people. Because I just feel like music is something you experience, like, you know, really only one way. It's like you kind of just listen to it. Like a movie, you just kind of, like, listen and watch it. But, like, a video game is something, like, you're experiencing, like, a piece of art, you know? It's like you're playing through it. You're using a lot more senses, and I feel like a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? You're just using a lot more energy to enjoy it, and I feel like it creates a more lasting impression than any of those other types of media, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like that, like, part of that argument is just like, oh, fun is fun, but like music is like good music is. I guess like even maybe video games are just less subjective. I mean, like I wouldn't even say that though, because like there's genres of games that like I really like and genres of games I don't really like.
You know what though? That's it. You could actually make that argument. I think video games are significantly less subjective. Obviously, there's like the things in the specific genres of games that people may not specifically like, but I think like a mass majority of people can kind of decide if a game is kind of good or not.
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
music is so much more subjective.
Even like the whole conversation, like for example, like I'm gonna say Resident Evil Village. Like it's not like my favorite game. It's not my favorite genre, but like I could recognize that it's a good game. Like it's very easy to recognize it's a good game. And like yes, there is music that I don't like that I could recognize as good music, but there's also music like the like black harsh noise. I don't know. I feel like whatever the best harsh noise black metal combination band, like I could not recognize that as good music.
You would not like it. Yeah.
But I mean, like even then, like I think that the real crux of the argument, I just don't think that video games have been around long enough to like understand whether or not they have staying power. Because like at least with music, you have.
I think at this point they have though.
I think 20 years from now. 20 years from now, we'll have.
I think video games have been around long enough because we've been having video games since the 70s.
Late 70s, early 80s. I don't know. Like I feel like 50s music, like Elvis, stuff like that. That's when we like start really like understanding like the true class. Actually, no, even then 40s. Like
so like I would say in like the 50s is probably where it starts as far as like mainstream music that has staying power. You know, like the Elvis stuff like that. But like before that, like who the fuck cares? You kind of just wonder if stuff just gets lost. If stuff just gets lost to time, like 100 years from now, are we just not going to remember the stuff from like the 2020s? You know what I mean?
I mean, quite literally, media gets lost to time as well. Like Doctor Who, like Doctor Who, even if it's like one of the most popular shows of all time, there's literally episodes from like the first couple of seasons that like we lost the tapes and no one could ever watch them again because we don't have them. Like they're just gone forever. Yeah. And like,
well, I think now is different though because we have such better media retention methods and stuff like that.
I think yes, but like honestly, I feel like people give the internet, like people always say like, oh, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. Like how many things have you tried to look up on the internet that are just gone? Like so many, and that's like from 10 years ago, gone. 5 years ago, even.
Yeah,
it's just like
you like especially like music and stuff like that. Yeah,
like YouTube videos. Like you gotta I download so many YouTube videos now because I know that like it's gonna randomly get privatized and I'll never be able to watch it again. Honestly, a great idea. It's already came in handy, and it also just like it's peace of mind when you like your favorite video, aka present yourself with Mark Salute. When you're just like wondering whether or not this is gonna be here forever. It's like it's on my PC. That's right. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, of course, video games, like, it's like, oh, we still play stuff from the 80s, and like, we play the historic stuff. Like, people are going to be playing NES games. They're going to be playing Mario Bros. 1 because of its historical implications, like 100 years down the road. But like, I don't know, like a lot of these NES games, I think, are going to just like completely, NES and maybe even SNES games are going to completely just go by the wayside. Like, we already see it with like entire libraries, like C64, ZX Spectrum. Like, people aren't playing entire like categories of video games.
I would almost disagree because like you can go to any section on Twitch and look at some of these retro games, whether it's NES and Super Nintendo, and it's not. I mean, yeah, granted, there's a lot of older people playing it, but there's a lot of young people playing these games, like people like that are like in their late teens still playing Super Nintendo and NES games, which I feel previous generation. in previous generations you never really experienced. I just think that people have such access to these things now that they can actually try out these old games that they've heard, 5 other generations say like, hey, this game's fucking awesome, this is good music, blah, 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 and they're actually taking to it.
I have to agree, just considering like 1991, I was born in 1994, so I'm younger than the SNES, but like that's the same thing in music. Like people are commenting like, I'm 14, I wish I was born in the 60s, I was born to the wrong generation. Like no, like
no, I don't think people are saying like they're born in the wrong generation. I just think like, especially now, and I see it in card games and stuff like that and other games I play, is that the current generation of kids are a lot more appreciative of a lot of the old stuff than previous generations.
I don't know. I feel like video games are probably going to be very similar to how we see music now. It's just that they're not old enough. That I don't think you're going to change me on this. You make good points, but like I also think that we're just going to have to see time elapse.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. I really like what you said about games being less subjective, though. I think that's like actually genuinely a good point, and not something I really thought about.
Yeah. Well, episode 756. We're going to come back in 700 episodes. Actually, that's not long enough. That's like only 14 years, right?
That's a long fucking time.
I don't know. I can't do math. But what else is new?
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, we're not talking about music anymore. We're going to get DMCA'd. DMCA'd on Twitch and YouTube.
Dude, this whole DMCA thing is just... I know we've talked about it like a million fucking times, but I'm just so over
we
at
actually
this point.
haven't talked about like Twitch drama we've talked about like individual streamer drama, but we haven't talked about Twitch the platform or like YouTube the platform, like just shitting the bed in so long. I feel like we're overdue.
So I just based on something that happened today. If those don't know, I'm sure you're aware by now. E3 happened. They had like the Ubisoft Direct and a whole bunch of other things. And they had a co-streamer event where certain streamers were allowed to stream the event. And if you weren't a specifically chosen co-streamer, you could potentially get in big trouble. They even put out a whole thing like, hey, like do it at your own risk. You can get DMCA'd, all this. So how they basically did the co-streamer E3 was actually quite hilarious. Anytime there was like an instance of music, whether it's over like gameplay, over people talking or something like that, they just play the same song.
Yeah,
same song
wasn't
over
that literally
and
what
over and
happened
over.
With the Metallica event, where they just like played random generic music when Metallica was playing their own song because they were scared about it? Like, is it like one of those generic? I actually wasn't able to watch E3 today. Like, good job being a.
Well, it was like the generic like indie like alternative music, like
yeah,
that
exactly.
you
Like
hear,
I know like that
8
one
years
lo-fi
ago.
people or that one lo-fi streamer made all their lo-fi music stream unrelated. Clint Stevens is live right now. What the fuck?
Oh my god! Cut the stream off.
Yeah, cut the stream off. No, I was trying to see if like people are like broadcasting E3, but
No, I mean that was like 8 hours ago. But no, like
People
literally,
still be
like
doing
so they like it was like Just Dance, and it was like they were talking about Just Dance instead of playing the music from Just Dance. It was like, hey, yo, like. It was like the same song, and then it was like the next game. It was like Assassin's Creed. Hey, yo, like over and over. Like each game had the same song. It was like 10 different games, the same song over each one. It was pretty funny.
if I was Twitch chat, I'd be going nuts about that. Who are you watching?
I was watching Video Game Donkey. He made his own music.
I saw him streaming it. I almost checked it out, but I didn't.
He started playing Choo Choo Rocket music.
That's pretty dope. I love Choo Choo Rocket. Choo Choo Rocket being, I think it's on eShop in some locations, or I guess that would be Wii U at this point, but I forget it's a GBA game and not just a Dreamcast game. But yeah, so like if I was a company like and I had a presentation I knew was going to be on Twitch, I just wouldn't pay for DMCA-able music at this point because like one, it like makes people on Twitch not want to co-broadcast and like get your word out. But like
everyone was just memeing on it like, oh yeah, fucking piece of shit at Ubisoft, blah blah blah. Like it just makes you look so much worse.
Yeah, I feel like especially with the Blizzard, like how much money do you think it costs Blizzard to get Metallica to play like during their event?
Like $10 million.
Only for it to be muted. Like I would just be like, yeah, we're not gonna have any DMCA music. This is a waste of time, money, everyone involved. Like, and it really is. So like I'm surprised people are still doing it. I guess like these events are evolving, especially in like
when you think about that when you think about that Metallica thing, it's like that wasn't even like a live show. It was like I guess maybe they were playing live. But like it was like a studio room. It wasn't like an audience or anything like that. So there was literally like no point of having them at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point to like 90% of E3 presentations is all just like glitz and glam. But like even like speaking
There
of
were
like
a couple cool games though.
we'll get into the news in a second, but like, yeah, I feel like E3 especially is in a weird place because like one of the reasons why people take E3 seriously is due to the fact that like, there's this massive audience that's like always looking like you basically see like a massive audience like clapping and stuff like for all these announcements. Like it shows how big of a deal the conference is, and like now that they're in a just like all online setting, like it seems that like E3
it doesn't transfer very well.
I feel like, especially since like even though cons are going to come back, they're probably not going to come back at the same capacity for a very long time. A lot of these organizations are probably freaking out, E3 specifically, but like even with like E3, like people are definitely taking it less seriously too, because we have like events like, what was it, like video game conference, summer video game fest or something like that, where like there were huge announcements. Like I don't care about Elden Ring. I'm not sure if you've ever actually followed the development for Elden Ring, but like Elden Ring, like it's like the guy from Game of Thrones, like he like wrote for the video game or something. It's like some fantasy game.
Yes. Well, it's from software, so it's like the people who did fucking Dark Souls and all that shit.
Okay, yeah, like people are going nuts about it. That wasn't even like an E3 announcement. Like I feel like E3 is gonna like, it's not gonna fall by the wayside, but it's just gonna.
Well, Nintendo already started doing this. They started doing the Nintendo Directs, which I think people actually get hype as fuck for.
Yeah, of course. But like I think that E3 is just like, people have, for some reason, like even though it hasn't been this way in years, people have given E3 like a complete. They're worshiping E3 way more than they need to be. Like E3 is just going to be another one of these events, like kind of like the Anime Con approach. Like there is no one true Anime Con in the United States. You might be able to say like, oh, Anime Expo in LA, but like, who cares? Who cares about what happens at Anime Expo?
The problem with things like E3, I think, is just at the crux of the DMCA problem, because like I want to say there's probably more people watching and paying attention to these events than ever, because we're able to just like basically live stream them and watch them from home. The problem is that when these companies are held by the balls by the DMCA, by these music companies and stuff, that just makes them all look fucking terrible. And I think that's something that's bleeding into like people's minds as far as like these games and things like that.
That, and I feel like a lot of these, like, yeah, of course they like broadcasted events before, but like having their own only online event, like it's just like out of the element.
There's like a chat going, it's like the chat like interaction going crazy and stuff like that, I think is like adding to like the hype, and people can, you know, it's like you're in person at a con, but you're like all in like a chat room, like all like 70,000 people all going nuts over it.
Yeah, but like that's a pretty significant dynamic like for these companies to shift towards. Like Nintendo's the only one who actually has experience with this with the Direct. So like go Nintendo. Directs are pretty cool. People are gonna like that. But like I don't know. Like it just like the DMCA issue is so stupid, because like there was like there was a chart going around. Like even Twitch's own DMCA solution is apparently like not necessarily safe from getting DMCA'd. They have like their own music service, and like even then like people will get DMCA'd by it. So it's like what is going on? Like I understand DMCA.
Do you want to know how we fix this?
Fix the law?
People need to vote.
Okay.
Vote for your representatives.
Do you not think Joe Biden is up to date on this issue? Not to get political.
No,
do you not think Joe Biden
like,
is streaming and getting DMCA'd?
They literally have people at the head of these fucking organizations that have never used an email. Like, did you see that headline that was like the chief officer of cybersecurity in Japan has never used a computer?
Yeah, I actually did see that. But okay, I want to say that no matter who the president was, I don't think they would know about the DMCA issue. But like, yeah, Joe Biden, old man, he's not going to help us with this. We need actual representatives to fix this. Because like, yeah, at the end of the day, DMCA is what's broken. But I can't, like, Twitch is doing so bad because like YouTube, at least, like you might get a copyright strike, but like they actually have a system in place. Like Twitch, you're just basically playing with fire the entire time you're streaming with any DMCA.
Yeah, I mean, like the issue is the DMCA itself. However, Twitch doesn't lend itself to have the tools to fix it. Or at the end of the day, I think they did like is it going to cost us more to fix this versus like what's going to cost to not fix it and have to deal with all the bullshit. Like it's, you know, probably like they weighed the choices type thing.
Yeah, but like they weighed the choices and made a shitty decision for the people who are actually using their platform. I mean, like, we could go on like for a billion years regarding this, but like if we're on the subject of like BlizzCon, WoW, etc., like did you probably have an opinion on this way more than I do. So I'm not sure if this has ever been the case, but WoW is not the number one MMO right now. It got surpassed. Have there been times where WoW wasn't
Yeah. WoW has always been number one for MMOs. Like obviously games like League of Legends and stuff like that has been more popular over time and stuff like that. But an article just came out, and I'll actually talk a little bit more about this. I've done some research on it, saying that Final Fantasy 14 now has more active players than World of Warcraft. Now, mind you, how they're getting those metrics are kind of shady, so there's really no way to say if it actually is, but I would not be surprised based on, like, I quit playing WoW.
Yeah, I was very surprised about this. I, like, had a conversation before the podcast where I'm like, wait, you don't play WoW anymore? It's like, yeah, I told you this like 8 times, and it's like, oh, wow, I'm a bad friend. But
I was an officer of my guild for, like, about 3 years straight. I played WoW for, 12 years. I'm not raiding right now. I'm not playing because I'm not a fan of the game. I don't have time for it. And I think a lot of people are feeling that. We've had content drought. It's not the best. They're not making good decisions. And from what I hear, Final Fantasy 14 is doing a lot of cool shit that people are enjoying. So,
I mean, the thing is,
kudos to them. I like seeing other people out there.
You mentioned it's a shady process, but like, WoW hasn't released their player numbers in like literally a decade. I thought something insane.
They don't. No.
So, how are they getting these metrics?
Through like add-ons and like APIs and like other shit. Like it's like educated guesses and things like that.
Okay, I mean, like honestly, like the funny thing to me is that like I don't know a single person that plays Final Fantasy 14, but I have a group of friends that all play Final Fantasy 11. I know that is not actually
really.
Yeah.
Wait, do you really?
Yeah,
no,
really? I know like 15 people. Like so the rhythm game community like has a massive overlap with like Final Fantasy 11 playing. So like you probably know a lot of people who play Final Fantasy 11. They just don't say it out loud. I think they're embarrassed. But it's really funny to me because, like, yeah, Final Fantasy 14 is obviously the better game.
That's so funny.
Like, I know a lot of people have complaints.
No,
about
Final Fantasy 11 is a good ass game, but it's the problem with WoW is it's the sunken cost fallacy. Most people playing WoW, we only play it because we've been playing it for so fucking long. I imagine it's the same thing with their friends that play Final Fantasy 11. They would probably love to change to 14, but they have all this dope shit and they put so much time into their Final Fantasy 11 characters that it doesn't make sense.
You would think that, but like no, like a lot of like new people are joining. Like I think there's like 1 or 2 people like that, but then like new people are joining to play with them. It's like a complete.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that Final Fantasy 11 will probably overtake Final Fantasy 14 as most played MMO in the near future. And
probably not.
I'm gonna be the one who calls it here.
They're making Final Fantasy 1 through 6 some of the best games of all time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 and 6 be considered some of the best games in the series. But it's going to be on phones.
Well, they already have been on phones, I thought.
And Steam.
Yeah, first of all, I thought they were already on phones and Steam. Like, I thought they had, like, upgraded versions of the game. Are these upgraded, or are these, like, just straight up like, ports?
They're like remastered or whatever. I don't know. But the problem, it's like a collection of all of them together. They're all, you can buy them all separately on these things, but it's like, where are the consoles? Where's the like
Switch?
Nintendo
Switch? Like the one that actually people want to play portable games on, not a phone. People like buttons. Like, I would love to, you're never going to get away.
I would straight up get these if they were on the Switch.
Yeah, you're never going to get away from like actual like buttons. Like people are like, oh, phones are good enough, but until phones have like I know there's like controllers people can get for phones, but it's never going to be good enough. People want dedicated consoles for these things. You're not. I thought you were. I was like trying to decipher why you're pissed because like you messaged me earlier saying you're pissed, and I'm like, is it because of the news about Final Fantasy action video game? I forget the name of it. It's like I don't know. You don't take me as like a massive Final Fantasy fan, so I don't know what to say.
Oh no, I just I'm not really like pissed. It's just like really like cell phones and Steam. It's like I want reasons to play my Switch. You know what I mean?
You are pissed. You are a baby. You are an infant slamming on the ground saying, "I want this game now."
I didn't say it like
That's
that.
what you're saying. You're crying. You sent me a picture like Kevin Smith with like his crying face on Twitter. You sent me one of those like just got back from the Square Enix presentation. Just like look at my eyes, look at my pain. I'm just waiting. Like okay, so my Final Fantasy predictions: Final Fantasy 11 gonna overtake Final Fantasy 14. That's number 1. After that, Final Fantasy company, Square Enix. I was like, what? Who makes Final Fantasy again? Square Enix are going to announce Final Fantasy 16, subtitle, Crystal Chronicles 2. I know they already announced Final Fantasy 16, but they're going to say, we're making Crystal Chronicles, but the second one. That's a really weird way of saying Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles 2. People want, like, imagine, I don't know why I'm making a box motion with my hands. Dana's ignoring me at this point because I'm just spouting nonsense. Crystal Chronicles 2, they're going to also announce Crystal Chronicles 3, like, to side-by-side releases. You haven't seen a game release 2 and 3 at the same time. It's going to be like a movie situation. You know when, like, movies are, like, filmed at the same time? Because they, like, you know how, like, Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 were filmed on the same set because they had a lot of similar, like, set pieces and stuff like that? You know about that?
Yeah.
It's going to be like that, except Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles 2 and 3 released at the same time. So it's like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles 2 Part 1 and then
no one even
Part
liked
2.
Crystal Chronicles.
It's my
the first
favorite
one,
Final Fantasy game.
that's the only one you've played.
Yeah, it's the only one I played. I beat it. Okay, actually, no, it's not the only one I played. I beat Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I beat Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I'm really good at...
Those aren't even mainline Final Fantasy games.
I picked the best Final Fantasies, and I played the shit out of them.
I played 5, I've played 6, I've played 7, I've played 8, I've played 9, I've played 10. I've never played 11. I've never played 12. I've never played 13. I've never played 14.
That's cool.
I've never played 15.
Same with me, except unless you mentioned Crystal Chronicles or Mystic Quest.
Yeah, I've played both of those. I had Crystal Chronicles, but then my neighbor stole my game.
Did you have the GBA link?
Yeah.
Did you have the little what are they called? Toombas? Moogles. Toombas of PS1 game.
Fucking remember, man.
Moogles theme, pretty dope. Where are we even going with this conversation? I guess.
Oh yeah, did you see any of the games from E3 that were announced?
No, we're a video game podcast, but I'd rather just talk about Crystal Chronicles 2. And
there was
3,
like it was like
release.
the same shit. It was like the new Far Cry, the new Mario Rabbids, whatever.
Yeah, with Mario Galaxy characters. I did see that like right before the podcast. I don't know. I bet some people will enjoy that. It's not for me. None of the games announced for me. I have like a backlog of like every single SNES game. It's fine. New games, who plays those except for us
The only
last week?
game that looked cool to me, oh god, it was called like Riders United or some shit like that. It was like an open world MMO, like you can do biking, you can do skiing, snowboarding.
That's what I was gonna say. Riders or writers? Because very different. Riders United sounds like
it looked pretty
union.
cool. It basically looked like MMO fucking Tony Hawk, like, and it looked pretty cool. Probably like Skate 3, but with like paragliding, biking, like all that.
To announce Wally as a playable character if we're talking about a skate
Please,
MMO.
no.
Well,
Anything but that.
Well, I don't know.
Dude, you should at the creators of Wally and be like, yo, we need this.
THQ?
Yeah. We'd just be like, yo, just make Wally's Pro Skater.
All right. Well,
Them sick mechanics. We're speaking of MMOs though. We were talking about that for a little bit. One game I am looking forward to is Lost Ark. That's something that people have been talking about, and that's going to be the next WoW killer supposedly, and it looks really fucking dope.
well, they all look dope until it's like, I don't know, like Age of. Do you remember when they made like 9 MMOs like at the same time, like Age of Conan, Warhammer? Like there was like 1 or 2 other ones, and like they all sucked.
Well, see, a lot of those games actually do really well when they come out. The problem is
They just don't have a good plan for content and
Yeah. That's usually what happens. There's actually a really good channel that does this. It's called Death to a Game, and they actually go through like the entire timeline of how these MMOs die out and like the process in which it happens. It's actually a really, really good channel. I would suggest it if you ever get some time.
I don't know. MMOs are not for me. Except they were.
Yeah, I mean,
I
still play MapleStory. So.
It's like the thing is, I played MapleStory like last week, but I didn't actually play. I just like looked at my inventory so I could like drop my items. But yeah, I don't know. I had to quit MMOs cold turkey. I was like, it's either my life or this MMO.
I mean, pretty much. It's like I don't have like a girlfriend or like a life, so I mean, I have plenty of time to play MMOs.
I mean, you could get married in MapleStory. I did that.
No.
No? Okay.
I'm married to the money.
Okay.
Married to the meso.
Married to the meso. I might have to leave the call after that.
I mean, you can.
Okay. That's a wrap.
Bye, everybody.